Hello, and welcome to the final component of our series, Part 3. Today we have an action-packed video for you, filled with hands-on demonstrations to maximize the effectiveness of teaching with your child. That's right, folks, we saved the best for last. And today in the final portion, we will show you how to create beautifully engaging lesson plans by combining the neuroscience principles that we have discussed in Parts 1 and Parts 2 of this series, establishing a strong foundation for your child's academic and life success. So let's begin, putting it all together into mini lessons. Studies find that preschoolers spend more than 80% of their day engaging in informal learning, that is, learning that occurs outside of school, which means that what we do at home really does matter. By now, you should have a solid understanding of the neurological factors governing the learning process in your child. So, we will integrate this into mini lessons, combining everything that we have learned to customize a lesson plan that is tailored for each child's age and level. We will focus on 3 key aspects: literacy, mathematics, and science. No need to invest in any fancy materials. The magic here lies within the integrative lesson plan that is designed to optimize your child's learning. The first mini lesson is literacy. Letters are all around us, from cereal boxes to street signs. In fact, your 3-year-old child might already know some of the alphabet letters without being taught. The idea here is to integrate physical movement, sensory stimulation, and serve and return interactions. These are the back and forth socializations that humans are hardwired for. According to Vygotsky, a 20th century child psychologist expert, he believed that children learn through social connections with peers that are more knowledgeable and highly skilled than themselves. Here's an activity which sets the stage for emergent reading skills. In this fun game, your child will be learning without even realizing it. What you will need is to prepare alphabet letters. They can be made out of wood like this. They can be made out of sandpaper, or get creative with arts and crafts supplies and make them out of a poster board even, like this letter M. Now what you will want to do is scatter the letters across the room, and you and your child will stand at the other end of the room. On your cue, your child will run as fast as they can, sprint into the letter, grabbing the letter that you called out and running back to you. This is wonderful for 2-year-olds that are still beginning to learn their ABCs. Next, take it a step further with your 3-year-old. You're going to ask them to bring back the letter, let's say the letter M, and ask them what sound does the letter M make. So after they answer M, the reply should be M. And next, for the 4-year-old, let's get a little more advanced, you will ask them to sprint and bring the letter back, asking them what is the name of the letter, what is the sound that it makes, and finally, ask them to correctly trace, using their finger, the letter like so, to mimic writing it, and this will have to be taught to them, of course, to get it right. Now, the sensory experience of tracing a letter provides the foundation for later on writing skills. Once your child masters the letters and the sounds, it's time to get reading. And so for this, you would want to first introduce the concept of phonics. These are sounds that the letters make once combined. So a simple example would be in the word cat or the word hat, where we combine it into short words. Now, if you want more details on how to teach a young child to read, please check my blog entitled The 5 Steps of Teaching a Young Child How to Read, which I will link in the description below. It is filled with innovative brain tricks to make it a positive learning experience for you and your child. Next, we have mathematics. Teaching math to a young child is all about tactile manipulation and numerical value. So math is oftentimes an abstract concept too difficult for young children to grasp. So we are going to simplify this for young children by developing mathematical thinking, which extends well beyond this lesson plan and into daily life. For example, you would want to search for opportunities to practice math concepts. This can be done at the grocery store when you ask a child to count the number of apples that you need. It can also be done while out on a nature walk with your child, asking them to look and count the number of birds you encounter. Or it could also be done in the comfort of your home by gathering tools, mathematical tools, such as Legos and also blocks. And these can be used to teach abstract concepts like spatial awareness, which is the organization of objects in space. For this mini lesson plan, you will need to gather a small quantity of items. These can be coins, this can be buttons, or even pebbles, anything that you have lying around. Now for this demonstration, we are going to use colorful buttons. Ask the child to count the number of buttons by sliding them one by one to the side. This works really well for the 2 to 3-year-old age group. Remember, you want to keep realistic and age-appropriate expectations. For example, for this age group, you will want to teach them only the numbers 1 through 5. Once this is mastered, you can go on to the next concept, which would be comparisons. You would want to create stacks of items, some stacks that are higher, some are lower, and some are the same, and then you ask the child whether the items are greater than, less than, or equal to when comparing those stacks. And for the modifications, you will want to tailor the lesson plan according to your child's age and skill. So for the 4-year-old, you will use numbers 1 through 10, teaching them that first, and then for a 5-year-old, you can increase the difficulty up to the numbers 20. Now don't forget the very important concept of zero. And when you teach zero, you teach the child that you are removing items away and there is nothing left. So by introducing this concept of zero early on, you are in fact scaffolding their learning and training them, preparing them for arithmetic, which will come later down the road. Word problems are the ultimate fun, but you have to wait until your child is ready for them. That is, until they have a solid understanding of numerical values. A good word problem for this age group is relevant to their lives and also is concrete so the child can see it and they can touch it. For this demonstration, we will use every child's favorite food, pizza. You can ask, if Daddy bought 4 slices of pizza and he ate one, Mommy ate one, the child had a slice, and the lucky pup managed to jump on the counter and have one too, how many slices of pizza were eaten for dinner? So this problem then becomes 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4. Over time, you can increase the difficulty of this by adding more elements. So the next stage is to teach subtraction. But remember, this is conceptually harder for the child. In fact, Jean Piaget, the father of child developmental psychology, noted that subtraction is harder for a child to master because it involves a secondary construct and builds upon addition. So first your child has to master addition before they can learn how to subtract. Next we will move into the problem of subtraction. If Daddy bought 4 slices of pizza and 3 slices were eaten for Mom, for Dad, and for the child, how many slices would remain for tomorrow's lunch? So Daddy ate one, you can have the child remove a slice. Mommy had one, the child had one, how many slices remain? So this becomes 4 minus 3 equals 1, as the child can see. For an older child, you will want to increase the difficulty of this by asking something a little more complex, and here they can do this using their fingers. So you can ask, if each one of us at home ate 2 slices of pizza, how many slices would be eaten? So that's 2 slices for Mom, 2 slices for Dad, and 2 slices for the child, for a total of 6 slices. Now, you could see that this problem, as the child progresses through grade school, this will be a multiplication problem where the child will apply the concept of 2 times 3 equals 6, but that's later. So now that you could see where we're going with this hands-on experiences, you can take it farther and have a great time with it. The funnier that you can make the word problem and more relevant to the child, the better, because the brain learns best where the information is stored associated with a feeling. So in this case, it will be if you can make it funny or relevant using pizza, for example. So the key here is to create an experience that the child can be fully immersed in, that is positive for their learning. Okay, now it's getting really good. We're off to the science portion of our lesson plan. And I have to be honest, this is my absolute favorite part. Okay, I know what you're thinking. It's because she's a science person. And while that might be true, I've also found that teaching a child the scientific method affects all other aspects of their learning. It teaches them greater appreciation for nature and the natural world. It also develops observation skills, curiosity, and wonderment. And while a 2-year-old might not understand the scientific process, they can benefit by doing this consistently, and it will show them a different way of thinking. So, what is the scientific method? It consists of 5 different steps to investigate our world. First, we begin with a question, something that you want to investigate, and you can look up relevant background to this question. The next part we have is the hypothesis. And when you make an hypothesis, you first make observations, and then you predict a possible outcome to answer your question. Next, we have an experiment, and this is the fun part where you gather the evidence and then you want to test your hypothesis. In the results, you are going to report what happened in your experiment. And finally, in the conclusion, you tie it all together by integrating their results, and also you compare it to what is existing in the current literature. In this mini lesson plan, your child will become a nature detective. All you will need is a camera and a magnifying glass. During the cold winter months, take a walk with your child, looking for animal footprints. When you find one, kneel down beside it and take a look. Observe. Ask your child, which animal do you think this footprint belongs to? You can also take it a step further and ask your child to come up with an hypothesis. For example, examine things with the magnifying glass, such as the size of the footprint. You could look for, does it have any nails? What is its shape? Experiment by having your child, this is the hands-on portion, where your child can take the finger and trace gently in the snow the outline of the animal footprint. Next, you could take the camera and snap a picture for later analysis. And once you get home, you could ask the child to look up an animal footprint chart and then ask them to find the closest match to the animal in nature. And so by doing this, you're teaching your child and walking them through the scientific process. You can also increase the complexity of this lesson with an older child. Take it a step further by talking about the composition of the snow. And if the child hypothesizes that the animal is a deer, you can ask the child, why do you think the deer chose to come here in this location? And also, how do you think it has survived the cold winter months? Once your child engages with the lesson plan, ask them to look up additional information. But what will you do if it's summer for you in your part of the world? So in the summer, your child can still be a nature detective and walk through the scientific method in a slightly different way. You will need a backpack to carry along on your nature walk. Then you ask the child to collect specimens that have fallen on the ground. This can be anything from leaves, rocks, twigs, and remember to teach. We want to teach good concepts this early on. Teach respect for nature by avoiding flower picking and insect handling. When you get home, discuss the findings with your child and also create a beautiful masterpiece by gluing the treasures onto a poster board. Thank you for joining us to supercharge your child's brain. We hope that you enjoyed this 3-part series. By now, you must have a better idea of the remarkable potential hidden within each child and what you can do to maximize the effectiveness of your lesson plans. But wait, don't go anywhere yet. We have a personal challenge just for you. Let's see if you can integrate the 5 science-based principles that we have discussed into your lesson plan. over the next 14 days. These will be key elements such as feelings and emotions, sensory experiences, and movement inside your curriculum with your young child. Please share with our community and let us know, did your child enjoy these lesson plans? Were they fully engaged? And what did you think? We hope that you like this content and that you will subscribe and share it with all of your friends. Until next time, wishing you a wonderful learning journey.